welcome to HiveState Bakugan. This video is going to be a comparison of the old Bakugan game versus the new Bakugan Battle Planet. So, if you are an old player wanting to see what's changed, or a new player wondering how Bakugan used to be, well, let's get started. So first things first, we should look at the Bakugan themselves. It's pretty easy to tell that the new figures are quite a bit bigger than the old, but this is to make room for some nice detail and awesome transformations. However, this does make some of the new Bakugan quite a bit more difficult to close. The official Bakugan YouTube channel even has tutorials on how to close some of these figures due to the difficulty, but with a little practice, this becomes no problem. Another change is the power printed on the Bakugan. In the original game, each Bakugan had a G-Power rating. Well, G-Power is turned into B-Power for the new game. In saying this, if you have a collection of the old Bakugan, they are not compatible with the new format. This is mostly due to how different the two games really are. On top of having a different power type, the new Bakugan also come with reference cards for if you're playing the full game. In this video, I will be covering the complete version over the basic version, but if you want to watch the tutorial for that, I will put a card to the official YouTube channel and their tutorial. Otherwise, let's continue the comparison. So your Bakugan reference cards will tell you everything you need to know about the Bakugan, from its B-Power to how much damage it can deal. Some Bakugan even have abilities now. Unlike in the original game, a Bakugan's B-Power is set and linked to your Bakugan and its faction. You won't find two basic Pyrus Dragonoids with different B-Powers, where in the old game, it's not uncommon to find the same Bakugan with different Gs. Another thing I need to mention is the fact that I just used the term faction. If you're from the old game, you probably think I misspoke, but no, the term attribute has been changed to the term faction. Some of the attributes have changed as well. If you're familiar with the old game, there were 6 core attributes. You had Pyrus, Aquus, Darkus, Chaos, Ventus, and Subterra. And of course they're represented like fire, dark, water, light, wind, earth. Well, now there's 7 factions. We still have Pyrus, Darkus, Aquus, Chaos, and Ventus, but Subterra is no longer in the game. It's been replaced by a faction called Aurelus. Now there's still quite a bit we do not know about this faction, but the color schemes for the Bakugan within it are like a silver and a gold. Now, this faction is stronger than all of the other factions, but it's not overpowered, and it's for a reason we'll get to in a moment. And now the 7th faction isn't exactly a faction, they're more of evolutions. They're clear, they're translucent, they're called Diamond Bakugan, and the closest thing that I can compare them to are like Funko's Chases. These Bakugan will only be available during the first run of each wave, and once they're gone, they're gone. Oh, also, Ventus is no longer wind, it's earth now. I mean, I guess the colors make sense, but let's move away from attributes and factions. Let's move into what you need to play the game. So in the classic game of Bakugan, you'd use 3 gate cards, 3 ability cards, 3 Bakugan, 2 support pieces of any kind, and up to 3 Baku Nano. In the new game, you use 3 Bakugan with their associated character cards, 6 Baku cores, and a 40-card deck. The 40-card deck can only include the factions of the Bakugan you're bringing to the game, so you have to choose carefully. Also, as of right now, other than evolutions, there are no Aurelus cards in the game. This is how I said earlier that it balances out. The Bakugan may be stronger, but they don't help your deck whatsoever. So when you set up a game in the classic version, both you and your opponent would place 1 gate card as far away from yourself as possible, but touching the other person's gate card. In the new game, players take turn placing 1 core at a time to form the hide matrix, until each player has placed all 6 of their cores. The only rule towards placement is that you must have at least one side fully connected to another. Originally, players would take turns rolling their Bakugan and trying to land on the gate cards. If 2 Bakugan landed on the same gate card, something special would happen. If they were both yours, either one Bakugan would shift to the other card, or if there was another card there, you would automatically consider it a victory and take that gate card. However, if one Bakugan was yours and one was the opponent's, the gate card would flip and a battle would happen. If you win 3 gate cards, you win the game. Now it's a lot different. Players take their turns at the same time. You both draw a card at the start of your turn at the same time, you can charge energy at the same time, and then whenever both players are ready, you can start a countdown and roll your Bakugan at the same time. Once the Bakugan have been rolled, a list of things can happen. If you both miss, you just roll again. If only one person's Bakugan opens, you automatically win and deal that much damage to the opponent. Or if both Bakugan open, a battle happens. Now originally, both you and your opponent would get bonuses off the same gate card. Well, now it's changed quite a bit. You have to have even more skill when rolling to hit the cores that you want, because the core that you land on, only you are getting that bonus. This means you have to pay extra careful attention to remember where you laid your good cores and where you laid your trap cores. Now let's talk about readied and used Bakugan in the old and the new. In the old version, every time you rolled a Bakugan, whether it opened or whether it didn't, it was moved to your used pile at the end of the turn. Once all three of your Bakugan was put in your used pile, you would shift them back over to your readied and roll again. So in the new game, once your Bakugan rolls and opens, if you win, you do not close that Bakugan. You just take it and put it back on its character card, ready for a powerful team attack. Once you've successfully opened all three of your Bakugan, that's when you can get them ready to roll again. You know, I mentioned it, so I should probably explain it. A team attack in this version of Bakugan is whenever your third Bakugan is open and in the battle. If it wins, you not only deal damage from that Bakugan, but from the Bakugan and cores of the other two Bakugan that you have sitting opened. It can quickly add up to be a lot of damage. Now the last thing I probably need to talk about the core part of the game are evolutions. Evolutions in the old version are vastly different than evolutions in the new. Here's how they work. So in classic Bakugan, you could use special evolution Bakugan, but they just kind of had to sit off to the side at the start of the game. Once some very special conditions were met, you could then skip your turn and replace the specified Bakugan with its evolution. Evolutions in the new game are a lot different. Basically, once you have a Bakugan's evolution card in your hand, all you have to do is play it over top of that specific Bakugan, pay its energy cost, and you're good to go. As of right now, other than diamonds, there are no figures to represent the evolutions. So in the new version of Bakugan, there also are no longer trap pieces, battle gear, Baku Nano, and I think it's a good thing. I'm not saying that I'm against traps and all that, but it's a really nice change of pace. However, I am going to explain how some of the old ones work, so let's do that. The first type of support piece was a trap. These pieces could be played during a battle to change the attribute of a Bakugan. If your opponent had a gate card that really hurt your Bakugan and its attribute, all you'd have to do is drop a trap and change the course of battle. The second type of support piece was the Bakugan Battle Gear. These pieces increased your G-Power as well as had the ability to give you some great effects in battle. Next, we have battle suits and vehicles. The suits were pieces you could add to your Bakugan during a battle for an added G-Power boost, and the vehicles would ride you onto the gate cards. Lastly, there were Mectagon and Nano Gear things. To be completely honest, I don't remember too much on these. Nano Gear I know give you a one-time boost, but as for the Mectagon and Mectagon Titans, I kinda hated them, so I never really had them or played against them. Also, I know I didn't cover any of the Japanese Bakugan, but that's because here in the States they were kind of hard to get your hands on, and I don't know the ruling for them. So I decided to go ahead and leave them out. But if there is anything else that I missed, please let me know down in the comments below. If it's interesting enough, I may pin it so everyone can see it. Also, I feel the need to say that obviously this video is not a tutorial for either game, it's just a comparison, so take it for what it is. Anyway, if you haven't seen it already, I did just post an overview and first impressions of Bakugan Battle Planet over on my main channel. There will be a card and a link in the description for that, so if you're interested, definitely go and watch. Otherwise, if you want more Bakugan content in your life, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell to be notified when I post. But whether you do or whether you don't, you'll see me when you see me.